8-3. When you're just looking at overall record before you go, I think that most Northern teams would take that when they're going to play a decent schedule. I try, as funny as it sounds, try not to get caught up in the wins and the losses and just how we're competing and whether we're prepared to play teams, whether we think that they're going to be good or not as strong. Kind of shows also what our mindset is going into games, and just trying to reaffirm that it should not matter what team you're playing, that you're just going to try to execute and play good baseball. So,
talk about the teams that you did face down there. I know a lot of them were bigger programs, so to speak. Division One, some NCAA member schools. Just talk about the programs that this team faced and what you kind of saw from the competition that maybe helps prepare this team going forward.
Yeah, we saw, I'd say, in looking at the actual schedule, there was at least half of our games, I believe, were against Division I junior colleges that had played anywhere between 20 and 30 games already in their schedule. So for me, stepping into a spring trip schedule that has you playing good teams that have already played, I think is the way that I would go if I could schedule it perfectly every year, just because we're kind of thrown into the fire and talk about accountability a lot. And it doesn't matter that we've been in a gym, because throwing a ball 60 feet, 6 inches for pitchers happens in a gym, and swinging, batting practice in a cage and fielding ground balls regardless of distance. The only thing that really gets cut off is the amount of range that we can have in distance throws for our position players. But it is good for us, in my mind, to step out and play good teams that have played a lot of games, and kind of throws the throw them into lanes den, so to speak. And I think that's a good thing. So it has us show up ready to compete right out the gate. So
when I was talking to Josh Rolls prior to you guys even going down to the trip, he said, I was asking him how the team looked. He said that you guys have hitters this year in pretty much every spot in the lineup, 1 through 9. Was that evident? Did that show up to you in these games down there?
Yeah, we had a lot of guys swung the bat really well, and when we saw the really good pitching, a few of the games that we lost, or of the 3 games that we lost, we weren't out in one of them. Got outplayed, and they hit us well, and we did not swing the bat very well that game. Now the other 2 games that we lost, we got beat, I believe, 5-3 and 4-3 in games where we necessarily didn't execute. Smart ball, small ball, whatever you want to call it, which is a large part of what we do, trying to put pressure on people to field bunts and being able to hit and run on all counts. And so we had, I think, good numbers overall, swinging with wood bats. All the schools that we played down there, I think every school but a couple that we played down there were all wood bat games. They play their whole season until tournament with wood bats. So, which is good for us to come back with having scored decent numbers. And I know that some of the schools and coaches I had talked to were impressed that we had swung the bats as well as we did coming straight out of the gym. But yeah, we thought offensively we had a chance to be consistent. We need to make sure that we don't rely on the fact that we're just going to hit a ton and not have to do the things that have made this program successful offensively, which is to sack bunt when needed and push for hits and hit and run. And we're just going to, on any count, at any time, we want to put pressure on our guys to be able to handle that situation and be good with it. So.
Now I know with pitching, speaking in the pitching department, you guys lost quite a bit in the pitching department after the end of last season. How are the new guys that are on this team, the young arms, coming along?
Good. It's kind of funny you talk about young junior college arms. There's only a difference in 1 year, but that makes a big difference. And so we've got a few guys that were injured. This team has more third-year sophomores and first-year eligibility freshmen than any team I've ever coached, just for various reasons, but mainly injury. So though we don't have game experience, we have a lot of guys that have been through a college season practice-wise and kind of at least know the rigors from paying attention to our games last year, whether they played in them or not. And then we got a few guys who are kind of separated by a year where they played a freshman year, got hurt, and are back for their second year of eligibility with 1 year gap in between, which I always think is, if they take it the right way, is very beneficial because they've had the chance to play at full speed for a year, take a year off to kind of watch it from the bench and from a different perspective, and then go apply the things that they learned firsthand and what they learned by watching and adjusting in the year that they didn't play. So not necessarily the way that we want things to go for some of these guys, but we've had just real odd injuries, and not pitchers' arms so much. It's just been odd that we have as many guys that have an extra year's eligibility regardless of the class. So I think last year we didn't return very many innings. The year before that we didn't return very many innings. So we're kind of in a familiar spot with guys that have good arms, maybe lack the game experience. But we hope by the end of the year that we'll have enough guys to get out there and compete at it.